Yay. So for me, waking up, not the last thing I remember is hearing 5 shots and people freaking out. I'm waking up and I'm like trying to itch my face. My hand comes like halfway and I'm like,
oh my gosh.
And I put it down and then I got to freaking out. My mom was like, no.
You're
like,
okay.
You're like, you're good. And I'm like trying to get some paper. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what happened? And something had happened. Like Alexis had walked past my bed and my feet went like this, like switched to the side. And I saw it, but didn't feel it. So I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Like pointing, like, what is going on? And my mom looked at me and she was like, ooh, Rikaya, like, you're paralyzed. Like, you're paralyzed from the waist down. And I was like,
what do you mean?
And I, like, didn't say anything for a little bit. And at this point, we had gotten the tube out of my throat. So now I'm, like, able to talk. So I'm, like, sitting there in my hospital room that was filled with all of my family and friends. So I'm like, okay, like, girl, you are not about to lose it in here.
That's hard.
Yeah,
that everyone's there.
So I looked at them. I said, okay. My mom was like, what? I said, I'm alive. Like, I'm good. I'm looking at all you guys like, I'm good. I'm alive. You know, like, we don't even have to get into it. So everyone was like, whoa. Like,
yeah.
Like, how? Like, you've been walking for 20 years.
You were being strong for them because they were all there.
And that's always been your role in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then there was a night, like, I was in there. They finally gave me my phone. And Bree, she couldn't sleep. So she's like, I can't sleep. And I'm like, dude, pull up. Like, you can come sleep in the hospital with me. Like, I'm not. So she would come stay almost every night. Like, and that's the only way she could sleep is until I fell asleep. And so even Adonis, like my brother, he didn't leave the hospital unless he had to go change his clothes, shower or anything, but he was coming right back. Like I was never alone. Nobody left me alone in that room by myself, not even one time.
That's amazing.
And it was like, honestly, I don't even know what I would have done if I were to have went through all of that by myself.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't even imagine not having somebody I can call at any point in time and be like, hey man, like I'm really struggling. Can you just please pull up on me and have somebody do it?
And you have that.
Sounds like you have a very strong support system and you've been strong your whole life and it was their turn to kind of be there for you.
It totally was.
I think like honestly, like the you are the way you are, and that is kind of like the biggest blessing in this whole situation is that they were there for you finally too, you know?
Yeah. Like,
wow.
You know, people say people won't do for you what you would do for them.
Yeah.
Like this showed me. And the crazy part about it is I saw this like meme literally a week to that day that said if I was in the hospital, who would be there?
What the?
You know, and I had shared it on Facebook, you know, and I'm like, who would pull up?
Are
you know?
you kidding me?
And all these people were like, I'd be there. And then sure enough, a week later, I'm in the hospital and those same people were barging into my hospital room trying to be there. Like, I kid you not, when it popped up on my memories, I was like, what? Now, why would you put that into the universe? Why did you share that? Like, why did you,
insane.
you know, but it was like so crazy because I got to see the people who said they would. And then they actually stepped up and they were there literally 7 days
and your
later.
people were right there.
Look
right by
at
your side.
look at the goosebumps on my leg.
Just
Holy
like,
shit.
it's nuts.